All right, I think we're recording. Yes, indeed. This is our attempt at a weekly Wujo. What you're looking at here now is the boat shed with the boat out of it. We'll go out and look at the boat in a few minutes. It's outside. I'm trying to do some of these while I can. We've got so much other stuff going on. Quick little tour of what's happening here. These are the beams. I've had to replace the beams that were originally designed for the proa because their angle wasn't right for the crab claw, for the carbon fiber mast that I'm going to use, or crane. It has to be at a particular angle in order to get over the proa and everything, and the beams that were originally manufactured were not adequate. They were just at the wrong angle. So what we're doing here is I'm manufacturing some new beams, carbon fiber. They've got resin and they're stuck to the table at the moment in these weights, but they're actually very lightweight. We'll knock the weights off here in a minute. They're composed of this structural foam that is sandwiched between Baltic birch 3-ply plywood. This stuff really sucks up the resin, by the way. Anyway, there's 4 layers of the foam. It's a non-compressible, you can't crush it, non-compressible structural foam that's really cool. I can't wait to build other stuff with it. And it's sandwiched between layers of the Baltic birch such that it won't twist, it won't compress, and so on. So there's 4 layers of this and 5 of the birch, and it's all wrapped in carbon fiber. In this carbon fiber here in this pile of junk area. And this stuff is a lightweight, or lighter weight than we're used to using. Sorry about the spinning around, I'll try and edit out some of that. We usually use this heavier grade carbon fiber, but because of the acute angles and the necessity to trim, I went to a lighter weight here on this. And these beams are actually quite lightweight. They have the new angle we require. I've just come on out. They've been setting up for a couple of days while we've done other things. And I've got to come on out and put another layer of carbon fiber on, simply because we're using this lighter weight stuff that does not have as many strands of carbon fiber within each strand of the cloth. So you can sort of see, I hope, that it's this kind of twill pattern, and it terminates in these threads. And the threads have a number of fibers in them. You judge your carbon fiber by how many threads or how many fibers are in each thread. And so that other thicker stuff has many, many more threads than this, but this does a nice tight wrap. And the reason that we want the wrap to be tight is we want to avoid any compressive forces coming down on this and causing the beam to twist or alter or anything. So in a while I'll pick them up and scrape off and cut off all the excess. And really lightweight sanding. You got to be very careful sanding carbon fiber. It just does not like sandpaper. It really destroys it. And see, here's the cloth in its non-resonated state. Very loose, very light, very much light cloth. Here's a bit of the stuff where it didn't stick. I'm doing the ends separately for a number of different reasons. Anyway, so here is our boat. Showing it now with the door in place. It's got the sail in it. It's on its trailer. Where that foam is, I've got a metal support thing I'm going to put in place there. And then this is the side the beams come off, and they're going to connect to this. This guy needs to be turned around. It's ass backwards from where it needs to be relative to the boat. And then the beams will have the appropriate angle, and we'll be able to get the mast and do the rest of the rigging there. So it should be relatively straightforward at that stage, except right at the moment, of course, I'm hung up on doing the beams. There's more of the Baltic birch, although I'm done with that for this particular application. We're going to use it for some of the other stuff involved in the boat and the finished parts here, or the growing parts, because basically what we're going to do is to grow the boat. You get it to a certain stage where you take it out, you shake it around and make sure that everything that's there is going to stay put by breaking it if you can. And then that locks up your base state, and you go from there and build up and add functionality. So because for a lot of different reasons we're adding things to it. Anyway, so the proa, I wanted to talk briefly about our carbon fiber work here. It's fairly interesting stuff, especially doing hand layup. I don't have the wherewithal here to have a giant vacuum set up. I've got the vacuums, I've done it before, never anything quite that large. It's problematic anyway. There's no real need for what we're doing here. I'd have to do multiple layers, and I would need to have some form of a resin infusion method for doing it if I were taking that approach, which adds so much more complexity and cost, it just was not worth it. So the few irregularities that arise due to hand layup are easily addressed with the next layer of the carbon fiber and a light little touch with sandpaper. So anyway, getting back to some other stuff here. Okay, so we're in the process now of acquiring a new place. I put an offer in on a piece of property nearby. Not what we had intended, but I've got to move rapidly for reasons of other people's health, not mine. But I just need to get it done. Can't continue to go along and try and hunt for a property to put the yurts on and then go and fight with the county. So I was able to resurrect our credit. Now, our credit issue was that we had no credit score because we don't know anybody. We don't have any debt, so I don't know anything on the property here. Paid off everything that I dealt cash and everything, so you know, everything I own. And there's never been any banksters or anything involved. So when you go and try and obtain a loan, of course, you're just basically shit out of luck. You can't get a loan unless you had a loan, that kind of a thing. So last year when I ran into this problem of trying to get us out of this place, which no longer suits our health needs, then couldn't get any financing because there's no credit score. However, as of April 1 in 2015, apparently the powers that be have changed that because they're desperate to keep the housing market pumped up. And so in doing so, they basically said, oh yeah, and you can go back 3 or 4 years now to look for a good credit history for someone in order to get them financing. This way you don't have to rely on just the last year, which was basically the barrier we'd run into. Because I think it was like almost 4 years now that I paid off this property here. But if we could go back far enough, we would capture that last little bit of good credit. And so we were able to do that and have started the process of getting financing and all that sort of thing for the dealing with banksters, and that's going to be another series of Wujos as we go along. But all of that business, you know, getting involved in the property market locally because we can get financing. We're not having to deal with the miserable small amount of cash we've got, which was a real limitation. And in pursuing that, it's shifted our plans a bit. We have a original plan on, we're like 5 years behind on the timeline now on it, to set up a Salish surreal studio and get moving on that, but the new property will accommodate that. Towards that end, I'm going to try and do a bunch of these, hopefully short, because I'm a long-winded son of a bitch, short videos every week as we get forward, as we get into the moving and so on. It's an interesting place out there. We're going to have to do some very interesting engineering to recoup some of the value out of the property. It's been long neglected. I'll go into that if we actually get the deal. And we'll get into some of the details. Oh yeah, one other thing is when we do these beams after they get another coat of the carbon fiber, when we're all done with that, then we're going to stick them in a sleeve, fiberglass sleeve, that will slide all the way over it, again sucking up some more resin, adding a little bit more weight. But that, the carbon against the fiberglass, with the dissimilarity of materials and how they react to resin, means that the beam simply will not twist. So it's a good approach to taking the boat up to the next level. I won't go into it now. There's a really cool bit of engineering that caused to be created in aluminum that's going to be our utility deck for the boat, that's going to actually hold the carbon fiber mast in place. And crane, it's actually a crane technically. Over here, by the way, speaking of masts and so on, besides the dog's butt that's hanging out down there, we'll scare him a bit. Here are the yard and the boom, 30-foot long, 1-inch thick carbon fiber tubes that I've made for sliding into the sleeves that I sewed into the sail. That's what this bit of debris is here, sitting on our flotation foam sailcloth, left over from doing my sewing for that. That's why the table is set up here. I had to do a really incredible job of shifting huge mass of sailcloth through a sewing machine. It's a very terrible sewing job. I'm not proud of it at all, but it'll get the job done. We'll be able to go out and shake and break things, and then after the sail has the crap beat out of it, it won't be so stiff, and that's why I have to bring it in to repair it for the inevitable breaks in the sewing. It will be a hell of a lot easier to shove through that machine. It's kind of stiff. It's like trying to shove one of these guys through a sewing machine when you've got that much cloth and it's all set up there. By the way, let me see. I'll show you one. I invented a new way to do this. I took some pipe. Again, sorry for the bad camera work. And sawed it, and then was able to stuff as you can see, stuff the sailcloth into it, and that kept it in a nice tube. As I'm dealing with a 30-foot length of it, it kept it all together. So finally, put the ball noggin to use, and then thereafter the sail sewing experience went very much more rapidly. So let's see what else. Oh, there's a good video on London Real. You can check out his YouTube site and get the first half of it. It's with this transhumanist guy who's running for president of the United States. And I got to say, Brian Rose did humans a real credit by standing up and making this guy defend his position, which he did not. He's just not able to, really. But anyway, so it's a good episode with a lot of digs in there and pokes and tweaks and so on. But transhumanists are so funny because they're not even sure what a human is and they want to overcome it. They don't get the purpose of death, and so they don't understand what harm they would do themselves if they were ever actually to achieve their goal of not dying. So anyway, in the ultimate chaos of all of this, we're getting close to cleaning this up. I've got to move all of this. All of the material in here has to be put into use in the boat. All of the building material and the tools have to be collected and gotten over to the new place should the property deal actually go through. We won't be using the yurts. I'm going to end up selling those just to get into a place quickly before having to deal with winter, and I've got other pressing concerns for work, so I just can't take the time to continue with that. It's just a non-starter. Anyway, so I have to get all of this stuff out of here, and then the shed itself has to be disassembled and probably sold because I won't have a place for it at the new property, nor a need for it once the boat's in the water. And then we'll have other facilities down there anyway, although maybe I could put this down on the we won't talk about that. So that's the end of this short little bit of craziness out of the boat shed. I'm gonna go on in and start this editing while I come on out and work on the beams, and we'll pick up with another one next week. I was correct, by the way, about the Mrs. Wong going shopping. There's been about 4 or 5 articles I've seen so far out of the Chinese press, all going to the idea that the yuan will be devalued, and or the pressures on the economy, and or the sudden explosion of importation of gold, and curiously silver. That was one that was mentioned twice in one of the articles. Was normally they don't report silver importation through the Hong Kong exchange, and also through the something dealers jewelry network. So they are expecting, I think, the powers that be are expecting something of a run, and I would if I were Chinese and I'd seen what was going on, and I'm quite certain they know what we know. So that's it for now. See you next week, and you may want to go check out the Transhumanist to see yet again the extremity of human thought. All right, bye guys.